All right. Once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Like, follow, and share. Comment. And we're moving on to our next topic. Name brand. When I was young and I came up, I wanted like Nike everything until Jordan became a thing. Then I wanted Jordan everything. But I'll also say I remember, Tommy Hilfiger, Polo, and I don't want to say Perry Ellis. Perry Ellis is kind of, but anyway. But those are all those names that everyone knows. And I remember my father used to say to me,
You big dummy.
would Michael Jordan pay to wear your name on his back? And it always made me think. Everything my parents said to me when I was young made me think. I mean, I thought it was silly, of course. It didn't matter. I wasn't Jordan, but it did make me think about the real, like, you want to pay $150 for a pair of sneakers that you're going to treat like they're dress shoes. You're not even going to wear them at certain places. You're going to make sure that you don't have any fun in them. You don't do anything in them because you don't want to get any scuffs or any marks on them. And that's not the point. The point is that is the name brand. Is that I was stuck on the name brand, but I do have a sneaker thing. I have a problem. Um, but it's the name brand. The name brand is, I believe, a weapon that keeps small businesses as small businesses and less likely to become corporations. I mean, it's a lot easier now than it was back in the day because of distribution abilities that they have now. But that also makes you vulnerable to Amazon if there's if it's anything that they can possibly steal or duplicate legally, they'll do it. So, but anyway, you can reach more people now. But when I was young, it was like, like I didn't want anything else. Like, I don't care the quality of it. Quality wasn't even a thing. It was just the name brand. The name brand is the quality because everyone else wears it, because everyone else and no one else has to complain about it. So that must, and everybody else says this is the thing to have, so I got to have it. But what that did was that kept the status quo for years upon years upon years, meaning that all of the name brands were all, for the most part, white companies, with the exception of a few Asian companies like your Sony's and electronics and things like that. But it wasn't like it is now back in the day. Like Sony became a big name, but we were rocking General Electric and what was it, Zenith? I think that was the other company. But anyway, name brands are ways to eliminate the fair market because you can basically say I have a quality product when you don't. When you don't have the highest quality in that order, but your name stands for something, and so people expect it to be more quality. But what happened over time was, as people got as the name brand got stronger, the companies had to find that, like, they got to stagnant where they weren't, it wasn't they weren't making money, but they were making the same amount of money. It wasn't going up and up and up and up. So what they would do is they would find a way to cut a corner, whether it be getting rid of employees or finding a cheaper component to put in the product. This is why, like, even things like Tasty Cakes or any kind of like Hostess cakes, they taste different now. It's because they found a cheaper thing to put in there than what they used to put in there before. And that cheaper thing doesn't taste the same. It may still make the same product consistency, but it doesn't make the same taste. And that same thing with cars. Cars are putting little plastic pieces in where a metal piece would have been welded in before. It's now little plastic pieces just shoved in there, or instead of where each individual part runs by itself, it has an overarching AI system that runs everything. And if something goes wrong with the AI system, it shuts the whole thing down. So I mean, like, it's really, we are evolving and learning more, but we're also making things worse and getting dumber at the same time. It's like you need to know when to slow down and slow your roll. Things now spend less time in the testing and focus research phase, and it's just like straight to the floor. It's like they're making changes on the fly. Like, all right, like, I'm a gamer. And if those gamers out there who will know exactly what I'm talking about, when you get a new game, like say when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, and first they've already delayed it because the game wasn't ready before they started selling it. So now they're going to put a game out here in front of us where it's going to be patches every single week, if not every single day. More downloads. The file's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and start pushing other games off of your hard drive. But the reason why they have to keep patching things every week, every day is because the game wasn't tested enough. It wasn't actually put through the rigors to see what the flaws in the game were. They're not really trying hard, and that's because they cut down on crew because they want to get as much profit out of the game as possible. So that instead of having a team full of super geeks to sit there and test every single inch of that game, they got one guy who's just going to keep doing it over and over again and keep trying to find little things. It's like it's more profitable but not more efficient, and we're not getting good product. We as consumers need to stop these brand name companies from changing the secret sauce. Like, I liked whatever you made when you made it originally. That's what I want you to keep making. I don't want you to try to find a cheaper way to make that. I could care less about your cheaper way to make that. You should be charging the same price. You find a new product to get people to buy, to make more money. You don't try to streamline the product you've already hit a home run with. You keep messing with the secret sauce. Your name brands are worth nothing anymore. And if you look at it, this new generation of the youth, that's why they love the Temus. They love the In the Boxes and the Shins. They love all that off-market stuff because they know they're going to get crap. Why pay a lot for it? And the only people who get some benefit out of these brand names are these rich influencers who just rubbing in people's faces. They can afford stuff that doesn't even need to be that expensive, and that allows the price to raise. And I don't understand how this works with our consumer market being so fucking inefficient. We can control this market, but instead we let them tell us what to pay for stuff. And then you feel privileged to be able to buy it at an overprice, and you rub it in everybody else's face. It makes no sense to me. If you want to know what's wrong with our economy, is that we let inflation exist at all. What are we doing as people? Where does inflation help you or me, the average person? Where does the stock market really help you or me, the average person? Everybody doesn't have a 401k. And you wouldn't need one if you weren't getting built by these big corporations that are killing it on the stock market and making millions on millions a day, while we struggle our whole lives to make that much money, and they're making it off our backs as if we weren't here, they wouldn't be able to make that much money. But I digress. The name brand stuff needs to stop, people. We need to start really investing in smaller companies, more individual artists and creators and builders and designers, content creators, small-time content creators, all of that. We need to fall back off of the stuff that they've been forcing down our throats. Because if it was that good, they wouldn't have to show us commercials of this stuff all day. They wouldn't have to force those commercials on us. Put a little time in and go and find what you really want, and for cheap.